another edition of the Vahnahbee Show. It's a pleasure to be back with you guys this evening. Just want to thank you all so much so far for the support that you've given, and we look forward to more. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep telling your friends about it. We have a great topic lined up for you this evening, but before we get into all of that, just want to say thank you to our sponsors, the folks at Convenience Plus Supermarket in Maho, as well as MLG Excavating. So looking to shop or looking to excavate, you can give them a call. So we want to welcome our guest to this evening's show, Mr. Bradley Guye, and he is a forest officer with the Forestry and Wildlife Division of Dominica. He's also into research, and but he'll tell you a little bit more about himself. So let's welcome Bradley. Good evening, Bradley, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Vanessa. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for agreeing to come on, because we have so much to talk about where forestry is concerned, or forests.
There's a lot to talk about, and I would just like to say, thanks to your viewers, for having me.
Yes.
But I guess it's a request,
Right.
for important information. So we're here.
Indeed. Yeah. So Dominica is well known for its lush, verdant forests, and we saw major destruction, like our forests were badly hit after Hurricane Maria. Now we see a lot of green around now. Everywhere is green again, or almost everywhere is green again. But how green is green? How healthy are our forests?
Alright, so you wonder if the green is a misconception.
If the green is a misconception, it's a
green
good
is
thing.
green is nature, man.
Green is green.
Go green, Dominica. Well, basically, as you said, Maria occurred. We had numerous occurrences, in the past. Erica was a significant one, causing some significant changes, in landscape that some people have not even seen. Even a lot of elders followed 2 years after by Maria, kind of escalating on that kind of a transformation, Hurricane David was in the 1979. And the person always trying to show similarities and what, if it was the same.
Yes.
But for me, it was my first, so I can say that it was, in my sense of it. When I woke up, as most people would have said in the morning, and looked at the forest in particular, persons like myself cried for sure. Tears ran, so
Yes.
it was a very significant kind of occurrence. Hurricane David, Maria was Maria, so we have some stories to tell.
So, before Maria, before Erica, what was the procedure like for keeping the forests, verdant and lush?
Well, first of all, I would like to big up, the foresters of the past. First thing, they did significant work. Respects to them. But there's a lot that can be done and should be done. We have the legislation where the forests, most of our forests, especially the state lands, are protected by law. Right? We have the Protected Areas Acts. We have our National Forestry Act, and we have the Forest and Wildlife. So all these give that sort of a legal protection over most of the resources. So we can say that Dominica have been privileged, to understand that from early and have put those under protection. So that is definitely the first step, in protection, is having it legally protected.
Right.
And where persons can be, persons always say forestry this, forestry that, but we need to protect it for what? Future generations.
Right.
Because they are the ones, we're the future generation, that those that started, work, and look, I can say that, it kind of worthwhile. So it's a future generation kind of a thing, protection, Yeah, so that we can say that the first thing is the protocols were the law. So they were under protection, and a lot of that has been maintained.
Now, did you have any incidents where you had to reprimand people for maybe misuse of the forest or illegal hunting, that kind of thing?
Yeah, those is part of the. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that forestry kind of helps to maintain a natural resource base, right? And one of the main things of that is livelihood. So it's not that we were apprehending persons for just destroying or whatever. It's basically disturbing livelihood at a time. So we do sell trees.
Yes.
So instead of you going and let's say illegally acquire it, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You would come to us and would allow you
Okay.
to acquire a tree.
Alright.
The hunting season, like, is on, I think we're 4 days into it, 5
Yes.
days into it.
Yes.
You come to the office, you buy your license, you go until, well, whatever time that we put it on. So it's a lively thing that we try to protect. So it's not like apprehending for,
Right.
you know, for, oh, do not use and never use and, oh, that's not for you.
Understood.
Nah, it's just protecting because it's ours and others have to use and we need to protect it. That kind of a
Okay.
way we like to.
And then I like the fact that you mentioned the hunting season is open because you know we're in independent season, so people want to get the glams, see what's their money, who they're this, they're that,
Yes,
perhaps.
definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the list that normally you have a game list, you call it,
Right.
that is released along with that. So
Awesome.
yeah, you can listen
So
to
you
the
know exactly
radio.
which animals you can hunt and which you have to be careful. So let's jump back to the trees and the forests. So Maria hit, we fast forward to that time, Maria's hit. And you know the forest is badly damaged. What kind of exercises did you undertake to rehabilitate the forest?
Alright, cool. Well, as I said, Hurricane David happened, and you know we had some sequence. So basically, what we can say is that nature always has changes. It's accustomed to change.
Yes.
Literally, our forests following Hurricane David would have needed some sort of a, you know, drastic change. Why? Because we were finding during our research and monitoring exercises that some of the fruits in the forest, because you know we have the Amazon parrots, we have two of them, and they usually battle for space and food.
Right.
So you know the trees were showing that some of the fruits were not so mature before they would, you know, think that. So there was a little lapse in the food part, you know, within the forest, especially on that part. But then when you have fruits up, they also feed below when they drop. So it's a cycle. So with that now, you know, the whole crop depredation thing, the parrots and maybe the agoutis and then would go on farmers' plots and cause that sort of a, you know, so-called problem. I don't see it as a problem still. I mean, if we have our farms are really farmed in Dominica because we have too much abandoned lands.
Exactly.
And those are bordering. So that I'm coming to the abandoned lands because that's something I had to kind of forcefully try to explain after Hurricane Maria, why we have so-called the vines and the grass and things spreading so much. Because as I always tell, from a land use point of view in Dominica, we have never really zoned the island properly for its natural resources based uses, assets, everything, so that we know where exactly what. I mean, agriculture has been doing soil science, but there has been some maps done for where exactly what should be planted and they are not planted. You have houses being there now. So like we have not taken zoning to that real sustainable sense in Dominica. I would like to say that. So you have a lot of abandoned farms now. And bordering the forest, you know, the farms border the forest. And from the farms you have the vines and stuff would have drastically entered into the forest after that. So that's one of the main reasons why you had such a bloom.
Yes.
Right? In that.
So it wasn't exactly the trees coming back to life. It was
the trees. It's a cycle still. I had to explain also that you know the forest is a greenhouse sort of a structure.
In its own sense.
Alright, so sometimes in mini settings, for example, if you have a little landslide, what you would have is, let's say, pioneer species would come in after the landslide. Pioneers would be like the guaflo, guacano, and after you have maybe a poadu or some of those kind of trees coming in, and then vines would follow, some grasses, maybe a little lichen would come up on the trees, and then you have bigger trees now, they would trap and then come up over that. So the original forest would come maybe after some years. So now you have the vines now eventually they kind of create that kind of a foliage, a greenhouse structure over the young plants. So right now I can say 4 years after we have trees that will, let's say, 1 meter, all right, of height. Those are the, let's say, the original species, right? Now they almost like 10 something going like that now, and maybe even more because of that. The vines, they do not last forever in our setting. Is that they grow, they cover the tree. Sometimes when they flower, I think we have seen that they flower, this little flower thing, and they really drop.
And then they start to get brownish.
Brownish and thing, and then the trees burst through. Check, you have some of the trees. So we see not some of the original. There is just that an original tree that's maybe 100 and something years is not going to rejuvenate as quickly as a
As a
5 year or
10-year-old
10 year.
tree.
Alright, so that's it. The stronger part of the forest, which is the older trees, will always take a little longer, but their rooting is still established. We still have water flowing, water never drop, water is still being cycled in Dominica because we have that capillary movements and the trees help with the filtering of water. So we have a whole cycle. We have clean air. So that's the end result of trees being maintained. So yeah, we did have a change, and right now we can see a lot of cavities would have opened after that sort of a hard wind because the parrots, for example, they do not make nests. All right, they would use the cavity in a tree, and a cavity in a tree will happen after you have an aged tree. A hole could happen from maybe some seizure from past stuff, or a branch breaking off. So that is how the cavity would form. So from Hurricane David to this point, we had a rapid growth after Hurricane David. Some of the cavities were maybe lacking, So you had to have that kind of a change. And even we can say too, or we can trek up a lot of rivers now because they got flushed after Erica Maria. So they got clean, they got kind of a.
So it made access easier. Okay, so Bradley, in terms of the reforestation, did you have any drives to help rebuild the forest? Say tree planting or something?
Yes, actually we initiated a national tree planting, reforestation tree planting initiative. We call agroforestry. Typically, it's basically using forestry and agriculture systems, to reforest. So that's how our lands basically were developed before. You had the farms, the citrus here, you had windbreaks or let's say mahogany or galba. Along the rivers, you would have the mangoes and breadfruit and stuff to maintain that riparian forest, you call it. Coconuts and stuff, and then you would have cocoa underneath the avocados, and so you have that sort of agroforestry. And if you add animals into it, you have pastoralization, you have pastures and stuff like that. So that's the sort of a system we envision. I think that would make sense after the hurricane. Okay, you have people need to rebuild windbreaks and we still want fruit trees, so we need to balance that. So it's a 1 million tree planting initiative. We have planted, I would say, near 40,000 plus and more. We have a whole lot of more plants waiting. We just came from treating them. So we're looking at this independent season, to kick off. We are working with the solid waste department, through the whole Ministry of Environment. Solid waste is also a partner within that ministry, so we partner them a lot of initiative. Schools, the council, the NEP have been supporting our drive.
How about individuals wanting to maybe purchase tree plants to plant for themselves?
I was getting to that part. You have the single farmers, as I said, farmers who want to replant their windbreaks, strengthen a piece of land that maybe part of it went, after the hurricane, full landslide erosion. Maybe some persons along Net River want to strengthen that access or something along the river to protect it. So we're looking at various aspects to support. So it's a national initiative. Hoping that persons would take it on.
Well, I won't have to ask if it's been good because you said you're on a million tree planting, a million trees to be planted, and you've already hit 40,000. Over what time frame?
So far we have 2 years, but not 3 years now.
Okay, so 40,000 in 2 years.
And the thing with Dominica, as we can say, a seed falls there, it grows. So when you might see you have space today,
you don't have any space
trees are growing. The trees are growing. And I think we want to mention that from our point of view, the processes of the forest in Dominica, we can say are at a balance currently. So it's not like a lot were disturbed. After the hurricane, and we have a complete shut off of forest processes and stuff like that. We literally don't. As far as we have open hunting season. Freshwater fishing we kind of trying to control because of the river effect and stuff, and that one's a little sensitive. Because rivers.
Go ahead.
Rivers on the whole, international rivers are very sensitive entity, I would want to say, right? There's a living structure.
Yes.
Not everybody can enjoy free flowing fresh water. I mean, right down to Roseau
True.
mouth, the market,
Right.
where you can, if you're dying of some thirsty, just go and drink some water. You won't die.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can take a
Because
chance.
it's flowing. It's
flowing, yeah, man.
It's flowing.
Yeah, so a lot of persons cannot, enjoy that sort of a privilege. So Dominica, I think we should take it to the point that, some positivity did happen. Because I think what we should be doing is having more industry,
Yes.
more industry around the forest here.
Well, in terms of the rivers, in terms of because you brought up the rivers. Now we saw that because of the volume of silt, stones, and so forth that would have come down post hurricanes, or maybe not even hurricane, maybe just a heavy rains and some flooding. Would the Forestry and Wildlife Division employ dredging of those rivers, or the dredging method to kind of open up the rivers some more?
Okay, well, after disaster, something that is necessary. So
Okay.
we just have to put it like that.
Mhm.
I mean, if you have a river and where a bridge was, I mean, stuff coming in, you have to clear that, you have to build a bridge. So
Okay.
something we understand, as we said. And normally, where we have like low-lying bridges, you can near the coast anyway, so you still have a sort of more control over that. But the estuary is a very important thing. But estuary can survive on some level of siltation for some time. As you said, it happens regularly. Just that with the machines that they intend. Just that what I think is that they should go in with a plan and have a time frame. So you don't go while you're digging, then you're imagining what you're going to do.
You're going to do.
So I think it's that, and a little more consultations, because some of the rivers are more active in wildlife or freshwater fish than others. So some you want to, you can drag a little time, but some you really want to do what you're doing and move on. There are some instances.
Because you don't want to put a machine into a river and you have
I mean,
fish nesting
is a
and
typical example.
yes,
and,
because you have the fish nesting, you have the crayfish there.
You have the people's livelihood.
Exactly.
Right, and machines occurring above that. So like for example, I would say that we had a great part in kind of a curbing that disturbance last time we had. There were tar actually was being dumped. I mean, you can say it because
yes,
it did happen. Tar was being dumped. And so we had to stop that. So we assisted. We got the call from the Lahi people. It was happening. I think when we went there, we saw the tar, and then we made that move. So that's why I can say like forestry, that's our kind of a thing.
Right. So how easy was it to get them to realize to stop?
Planning, the physical plan department normally works well with us. Land and service planning. Because we are the land use custodians, so we have that sort of relationship. So we could move quickly.
Exactly.
It's just that everybody has to be on par. Decision makers, everybody has to be on par and make it happen because people livelihood need to be protected in Dominica. That's what I can say.
Indeed. Let's backtrack a little bit because you mentioned earlier on in the discussion that you sold trees. The Forestry and Wildlife Division would sell the trees to people. When you say sell the trees, would you have it prepared like sold off and boarded, or is it just you just come in, select the tree, and it's cut for you?
Well, it's all of the above.
Okay.
It's just that we have only the selling capacity on state lands, right, government lands, and some part of the reserves, not the protected area. Normally we don't sell trees. If it's a necessity, it fell, something like that, somebody can access it, yes, we can maybe allow that. But the reserves, like we have in Central Forest Reserve, Northern Forest Reserve, some part in Loda, we have some there, and we had some, scattered around, where we do have some trees, in particular mahogany, blue mahu, some of the exotics, and then within the reserves we have the local trees, that like the lauriers, as person will be accustomed to and stuff, maybe a Guye, the Guye on occasion, like the Kalina we use for they come to us a lot for that, for the candles, so that's the procedure. So we can sell a tree, or we do produce lumber and sell on occasion.
Okay.
Right? We have a chainsaw team
Okay.
that's engaged in doing that. So recently we just we bought them a sawmill after the hurricane because we saw that the logs came down and then we need to move quick on things. But that's the other thing. I think education is a good thing because our elders would know what is a good tree towards that. So there was a mix of logs.
Okay.
So we saw that a lot of the good logs were chopped up, and destroyed.
Those that would have probably been
into lumber,
and
those that were left in big, we get it in big, and some of them were not the hard trees. So we brought them a sawmill. We just rebuilt a lumber shed in Popasway. So we're looking at expanding on the production.
Right. And what's the support like from the public? I mean, the public, we want to go on hikes. We want to get the forest back to how it used to be again, so we can enjoy our hikes, enjoy our nature walks, and so on and so forth. But how are the members of the public assisting you getting that?
All right. Well, I can say twofold. I mean, because the same people that use in the forest, sometimes the same people that try, sometimes some that would protect, some that would destroy. But it's the same people.
Okay.
We do get help in protecting. I can definitely put my neck on the line and say that. There are persons that do help. So it's not like a selling out thing, but basically, as I say, it's to protect, a resource. And so the public, we always have good relationship with them. I mean, even like the hunting season and stuff like that, we have the illegal one, but sometimes the illegal ones are sometimes real extreme cases, it's not like a normal practice like everybody everywhere is doing, it's certain cases, we can pinpoint sometimes,
So say for example, I have my land in the bush, or, I'm not in town, I'm out, and I have plants, I have
rural areas.
Yes, and I have maybe pumpkins, I have yams, I have that kind of thing. And then the apple trees will come, and so I'll come by and maybe I just throw a rock. I don't even need a shotgun. I just throw a rock. Agouti drops dead. I cook agouti, I eat agouti. Forestry and wildlife people come personnel walking through in their patrol. No, but they see me going with their dead agouti. So how does that play out? Is it?
Okay.
And we're talking off hunting season, eh?
Yeah, off hunting season. I mean that is a normal occurrence. I mean it's a livelihood thing, I would say, right? So sometimes some persons don't really have that ability all the time, and sometimes it's just like you have some seasoned hunters. They are just hunters.
Yes.
How we really curb that out of season hunting thing is that if it's like for just I would say a home consumption thing, like you're not doing every day kind of a thing. It's okay, like a routine on your land. Most likely it would have been a male too, out of season, because the females would have been more in there with the young ones. And as you mentioned, if it's your property, right? We normally do not have that jurisdiction over private properties, right? So yes, it's a wildlife, but if it crosses onto your property, I mean, you can. Well, we see that our custodian over it. So if you're, as I said, if you're taking to sell every one that's coming on your land, we can have an issue with that. But if it's one that you, and we've been having that complaint, for the past time with the excessive crop depredation by the agouti, for example. I mean, the parrots is a more sensitive case. But the agoutis, we can, control them because it's kind of a national and it's a delicacy, And we're actually trying to have farmers farm it as a livelihood opportunity, like how you farm rabbits. It's similar. It's a rodent. So we're trying to have that.
A very delicious rodent, huh?
Yeah, man. Cool. So so on your land we wouldn't come into that forceful if you just want to do a home thing.
Understood.
But if it's going into the market, into, I don't want to call it
high production, always available, and
it's out of season.
Out of season, understood. Now, we notice as well in terms of the again back to the hunting season, the crabs, they're out sometimes even off hunting season. It's okay if I'm driving by to just pick up two of them. Just for a small
No, it's
pot.
not
It's not
okay.
okay. Even if they're not
Likewise,
pregnant.
well, the iguanas are protected, so
The iguanas are
we
protected.
normally have iguana on the list,
Okay.
but persons do enjoy iguana. But we do not want to get an iguana on a menu somewhere that's like, yeah, it's another kind of
I
thing.
understand. I understand.
Yeah, so the crabs, all animals, I mean, hunting or no hunting, they live it, right? So they're moving
Yeah, so they
around.
have to move around.
But there are certain processes that people need to understand that out of the hunting season normally is because they are spawning. They are mating and spawning. So the mating is, let's say, a 3 months period, and then with another 3 months. So by the time they're done, they're back into, let's say, our rain season kind of a thing, when they kind of are ready to, release the young and stuff, and then we come into independence, which is like in the mid of it.
Yes.
When young ones actually have maybe 2 months, 3 months, and can help themselves, so you can take. So it's a cycle that we try to protect. And just like a mother, a mother doesn't give birth one time for everything, so you have to protect her through that 9 months cycle, kind of thing. Yeah.
Alright. Okay. Well.
Mother nature, right?
Yes, indeed.
Mother nature.
Indeed. If somebody is interested in assisting with the replanting process, how can they contact you to maybe purchase a tree? Are we purchasing the trees, or are the trees being donated?
Currently, we're trying to donate trees,
Okay.
and we have donated a good bit. For instances, we have our nurseries where that has been part of our sales, income sales of plants, ornamental plants with flowers and stuff. But for this process, we're trying to donate them because it's a national effort. And most of the areas highlighted are not really for commercial areas, let's say, where you can go back and harvest the trees or whatever like that.
I wanted to get to that as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we're trying to create the environment.
Okay.
Yeah. While we want to do back some plantations, and we're trying to inspire private people to do plantations, So it's not like just plant one organ, but maybe try to plant 10, try to plant 20, something like that.
And then you can reap your returns. That can be like a retirement plan for you.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah.
One tree gives you a good thing.
Precisely. So how long would it really take a tree to get to full maturity? So say I buy 10 trees now and I want to plant them. How long would it take it to reach the full maturity? So I'm trying to set my retirement plan.
Yeah, well, you should just plant it one time.
Okay.
But well, each species has their sort of life cycle process. But let's say, for example, I would pinpoint a mahogany, which everybody knows, and that what we have, let's say, we have in some good amounts, with good planting spacing. And maybe some treatment like removing some of the branches, some of the early stages, that they get that nice stemming. And with distance, you could get them in 12 years, 12, 14 years you can harvest. And it will be more mature at 20, for example.
Well, I'm still 21, so I've always.
Yeah, well, of course. You have time, Mother Nature. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, so in normal, let's say, the average will be 16 years, right?
Okay.
Between that 12 and that 20, 21, everything, So 15, 16 years, and you can harvest the trees.
Awesome. Okay.
Now they will be mature, that let's say insect attack. We're looking at not a tree that just dig, but that is kind of mature to resist insect
like
attack.
termites and
this
that
kind
sort
of
of
thing.
But on a regular basis, how resistant are they to termite attacks, to insect attacks?
It goes to species again.
Okay.
Yeah, variability in species. Yeah. Some of the hardwood, you have softwood. Yeah.
So hardwoods would
resist.
Would be like mahogany.
One of our hardest wood here is, let's say, kuba wood. You heard
Yes.
already?
Yes.
Kumkas, that.
Yes.
Right, so that's one of our most prized trees on island.
Okay.
Very hardwood. Then you have, for example, something like a carapit. You know that carapit, now we can do external construction, bridges, things like that.
Okay.
They can resist
So
softwood.
that would be something that like what was on the back, the state bridge.
Yeah,
Vahnahbee?
eventually, yeah,
Okay,
man.
alright,
Yeah, man.
okay.
In the past, yeah.
Yes, in the past. Alright.
A softwood would be like what you have burned. A lot of people have burned on their lands now,
Mhm.
even a little before the hurricane. But after you have that disturbance and you do not plant properly, you have the, let's say, what you call the Mao Kosho. It's a very,
Yes, I know it.
yeah, it looks big. It makes
Yes.
a huge. Before they use it for coffin making and
Yeah?
crate making.
Okay.
All right, but it deteriorates quickly. You know. Then you have the buffalo. You know,
Yes, and the bargain.
yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Alright, cool.
I know a few of them.
Yeah, man, I see you.
And then we have the white pines.
Yeah, the white pine is more coastal.
Okay.
What we call white cedar.
Yes.
Paulier.
Uh-huh.
We call them Paulier. Yeah, you have them along the coast, along the rocks. So those can resist
Okay.
that coastal. So it's like we kind of a zoning where you can plant what. So we have
Right.
that sort of technical support. You know,
So when are we going to see that zoning education coming up? Because the way you mentioned it, it sounded like where people should be planting dashing, they're planting bananas, and where they should be planting mahogany trees, they're planting moringa trees. So when is that? When are you going
well,
to put
physical
something?
planning has already initiated. I mean, we, as I said, we have been having national consultations on the matter.
Mhm.
And I mean, the whole housing development thing is something that needs to be, it needs to accompany it,
Okay.
right? That zoning plan. Because also when you do the housing, you have sewer and stuff like that, and where it's just sewerage and all kind of thing. And if you have zones that are sensitive to seismic activity for panic, instead of you go put tall buildings, you want to have mosquito buildings. You know, so it's,
Yes.
I think those are the things we need to, take serious right now. Even the banks along the river, how far, how close you can, how far you should develop along a river bank. So we saw after Erica Maria how much houses went
Yeah,
down.
because we're right
Yeah.
on the riverbank.
Yeah, man,
So there was not enough
so that's what
room
the
for the river
zoning,
to flow out
would
and-
kind of inspire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, Bradley, it's been very interesting, very informative. Anything else you want to share with the viewers? In terms of
Well, currently we have, as I said, the projects ongoing, and I said you also asked how can we be contacted, so I think I will answer that. By email, we have forestry@dominica.gov.dm or directorforestry@dominica.gov.dm. Our telephone number 266-5852. You can get us. And then we're just next to the Back Estate Bridge, the
Close to
grammar
Alliance
school grounds.
Access, towards the back of grammar school.
Right, so that's the current,
That used to be
Stadium Road.
that used to be the
Stadium
NDFG building before.
Road.
Yes.
So we're here, and so there you could get your permits to purchase the trees, the licensing for hunting, fishing,
Okay.
and there's basic information on research. The college students
Yes.
and a lot of students always come for research purposes and stuff like that. So
Alright.
yeah, so that's the normal.
Yes.
We always accept, persons. That's our job, basically, to inform.
Alright.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we want to wish you all the best in your endeavors, you and your team at the Forestry Wildlife Division.
I'd like to big up the team for sure.
Of course. Well, say hi to the team.
Yeah, man. Hi, team.
Hi, team. Well, I know from your team, I know you and I know Sekou,
Yeah.
Nafi.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we are engineers. I
Yes.
didn't mention about studied Cuba. So we completed in 2005,
Okay.
6 years actually at the University of Roseau, in Cuba. So yeah, so we are forestry engineers. Yeah.
Awesome.
So we can, with the engine,
Yes.
we need to take it to another
Yes.
level. That's what engineers should be.
Alright.
That should be able to take a process and move it forward.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, man.
Alright. Awesome. Well, Ravi, thank you so much for coming through.
Yeah, man.
And
You're welcome.
hope to have you on Saturday some other time.
Yeah, why not?
Alright.
Yeah.
So, to our viewers, we say thank you for staying tuned, thank you for supporting, and look forward for more exciting, more informative episodes of the Vahnahbee Show. We say thank you to our sponsors, Convenience Plus Inc., Convenience Plus Supermarket in Maho, Main Street in Maho, as well as MPL3 Excavating. Call for your free quote on your next excavation or demolition project. Thank you. Bye-bye.